Our next speaker needs no introduction, but he deserves a really long one. Arne Duncan was named the U.S. Secretary of Education by President Barack Obama from 2009 until 2015. He served as the Chicago Public Schools CEO. He's got a brilliant mind. But what I've always been most impressed by him with is his heart. We've been talking throughout the day, whether it's been in panels or people's talks, about this idea of humility, humanity, compassion, like really, really seeing people. And one thing I know to be true about him, I feel like I've just, over the years, I've seen him. He really, really sees people and deeply cares about them. And I've just respected that ever since I've known him. He's now the managing partner of the Emerson Collective, which is an innovative initiative founded by Steve Jobs' widow, Lorraine Jobs. And one of their initiatives is called Chicago CRED. It's an ambitious employment program in Chicago targeted at young black men. Please welcome to the Kennedy Forum, Secretary Arne Duncan and participants in Chicago CRED.
Thank you so much, Liz, for that kind introduction. And she's been an amazing partner and was an amazing principal here in Chicago. And we'll get started in 1 second. I just want to thank the Kennedy family. Let's give the Kennedy family a huge round of applause. Their legacy of public service is just extraordinary, and just anything we can do to support them and support their work, we're all in. Just very quickly, our program, Chicago CRED, has one laser-like focus. It's trying to reduce shootings and homicides here in Chicago. And for those not from Chicago, unfortunately, where we are as a city is not a place any of us can feel proud of or good about. Chicago is the third largest city in the country. Obviously, New York and LA much larger than us, but Chicago has way more homicides than New York and LA combined. Sort of think about the math of that. It doesn't make sense. In a perfect world, I'd love to get homicides down to zero. That might be unrealistic. But if we just wanted to be normal, more in line with the other cities, last year we had 660 homicides here in Chicago. To get to New York's level, we'd have to go down to 92. So it's basically a reduction of almost 500 in body count. So we have a lot of work to do. We're working in the communities where a disproportionate amount of the violence exists, and trying to work directly with the young men who are most likely to be the victims or the perpetrators of violence, and give them a different path. And we'll just go down the line. We have just amazing young men and leaders like Mr. Hicks, and just let them tell you a little bit about their stories, and we'll take some questions then, ask a few questions. But just talk, Mr. Hicks, we'll start with you, and just growing up, what was it like? And we'll transition to some of the stuff you've been through and what you're doing now.
How everybody doing? I grew up in the Roseland area. A lot of street gang activity. I grew up with the Gangster Disciples, well-known street gang in Chicago. Had a lot of issues with law enforcement. I spent over 17 years being incarcerated on 4 different stints since 1998. I had an addiction to guns. Gun violence was it was almost like an epidemic in my head. I just got to the point where I said to myself, before I end up locked up forever or in the graveyard, I took it upon myself to say, I'm going to give back to the community. Most people think when you give back, it's all financial. Me, myself, I just wanted to be hands-on and try and reach out to some of these brothers and keep them from going down the path that I went, constantly in and out of the penal system. And again, like I say, I just got off parole maybe almost a year ago. I had 3 years parole. Thank you. The best part about that, I ran into Mr. and Mrs. Jones. They gave me opportunity to work with a program called Cure Violence, better known as Ceasefire. And through that, I was given another opportunity from doing so well within that job opportunity to become a life coach with these fine gentlemen here, as well as 33 other young men. And again, like I said, it's been life-changing for me. It feels good to not be wanted or looked for by, by the police. I'm a proud grandfather now, and I'm proud of myself. I came a long way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the biggest thing you're trying to teach? What's the biggest piece of knowledge you're trying to impart?
One of the biggest issues is self-respect. When I try and let these guys understand that you're not going to always be understood, and to have a little patience. Again, these are young guys we're dealing with that's part of a program that's brand new to them. They come in every morning at 8 a.m. They're there. There's something way different from what they're used to. And we're just trying to teach them some good work ethic, whether it's teamwork, professionalism, the time management, the main thing, getting to work on time and being there for their kids, those that have kids. It's been a fun journey. It's not easy. It's not easy dealing with these guys, but it's worth the headache and pain, trust me.
Now, Uncle Brandon, in 1 second, last question, Mr. Hicks, for you is, we go back to Cook County Jail almost every month and recruit guys coming out of there to come into our program. And you went back in with us recently and left with us recently. What was that like to go in a very different context?
Okay, so here's the catch. I've been in the county jail maybe like 6 times total. Each time has been maximum security. So I never dreamed of being able to go in the county on my own will, not being searched, hassled. I get to go on the same deck where you housing me at and talk to individuals. And thanks to Arnie and me working with this program, I was able to make that happen. And it's a wonderful feeling, and it's a hurtful feeling at the same time, because when you come from that side, you understand what it takes to survive in there. But when you leaving out, that's one of the worst feelings, because you're leaving behind guys that you became brothers with. So again, it was probably like the weirdest thing, but the best thing at the same time. Because I don't think you guys understand. Cook County Jail is probably the worst. Well, I have to say the worst because I've never been in no other county or state in the United States to me, all the way around the board. And again, like I said, it was the wonderful feeling. I was able to talk to some guys. I done got in touch with a few of the gentlemen since then. And again, we're just pushing to stop the recidivism, because it's even higher than I think statistics may say. Numbers is numbers, but actuality is what's inside the county jail. So,
Thank you. Brandon,
Well,
growing up, what was it like?
well, I grew up in a household. It was me and five of my other siblings. I grew up with 3 sisters, 2 little brothers. We was all in 1-bedroom apartment, and we came from poverty, you could say. And I got expelled from high school in 2012. And following my expulsion, I was arrested for robbery charges in the beginning of 2013 and sat for 4 months. And in them 4 months, I missed Christmas, New Year's, my siblings' birthdays, little brother birthdays, all type of events. And I think just like sitting down and missing all them events, that kind of like showed me like, this not for you. Like, I don't want to be here. I ain't coming back. So it was a lesson learned. Then I got enrolled in Chicago CRED one day by walking down the street, and I had bumped into Miss Jones, and she offered me a chance to do something positive with myself. Because when I got out of jail, it was kind of like hard for me to get back in school, to stay focused and find a job and everything. So when Miss Jones offered me a chance to work, I took it instantly. And ever since then, being in Chicago CRED, I've been on top of my game, I could say. They helped me get my high school diploma. They helped me get certificates like food sanitation, my unarmed license, my OSHA card, and things like that. They just like helped me put me on a path where I could do better for myself and for my daughter. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, what's been the best thing about the What's been the best thing about the program? What's been the hardest thing about the program so far?
Well, I'd say the best thing about the program was meeting all these brothers that I call now my brothers, like getting to know them and building a bond with them, building trust and the brotherhood with them. I feel like that was the best thing for me, because I really didn't trust a lot of people. When I first came into the program, it was just a room full of kids, like just everybody. You on your toes, don't know nobody know you don't know what to expect. And the first thing that came to my head was it was gonna be some bull. Like it was gonna be a fight, somebody was gonna get into it. But it wasn't even nothing like that. We all came together, built a brotherhood, and now we here for each other. So I feel like that was the best thing that I could take out of CRED.
What's been the hardest?
Staying focused and not backtracking to what I knew and what I was used to. That was the hardest thing for me, because when I got enrolled in CRED before this, I was just drugs, money, and robbing and everything like that. And the money was so fast and easy, it was like an adrenaline rush to me. It was exciting. But I say, going into CRED and getting the little payroll cut that I took and staying on track and staying focused to do something good and positive, I think that was the hardest for me to do.
And when you think about backtracking, when you think about fast money and that adrenaline rush, what do you do to not go back down that path?
I sit down, talk with my life coach. Like they were saying earlier, we got a therapist that help us with things like that. And for me, the main thing that helped me stay focused was my daughter. Like seeing her and watching her being born into this world and just being around her since she was born, that just my motivation. Like that can't nothing deter me from my track now.
Where do you want to be a couple years from now?
A couple years from now, right now, I wanna go to school to be a lawyer, a defense attorney. So I feel like I gotta stay focused right now with the job I got, save so I can put myself through school.
Okay. Cool, thank you. Sorry. Malik, talk to me about growing up.
Pretty much, I grew up in Roseland in a one-parent home due to the fact that my father was sentenced 10 years in a federal prison. 2013, I was charged with my first gun charge. It was an aggravated UUW. Shortly after that, 2014, I got shot 6 times. I got shot in the back of my head, 3 times in my back, my hand, my shoulder, and I still couldn't get it right. So shortly after that, after I got shot 2014, I ended up catching another gun case in 2015. And me personally, I feel like jail didn't really do nothing but build my tolerance level. It showed me that I can do it and showed me that I wasn't scared. Me, when I came to Chicago CRED, I began to know myself and know my worth. I began to evaluate situations and understand that if I love myself and I love my family, I love my kids, I won't put myself through it and I won't put my family through it as well. So, and I also feel like they just helped me to put my life on track. Because before I came to Chicago CRED, my life was spinning out of control. I didn't know if I was coming, I didn't know if I was going, I didn't know which way to go. You know what I'm saying? And due to the fact they helped me get my unarmed security, they helped me with trades as far as my food sanitations, they helped me with the deconstruction. They helped me a lot. So I can't really stress how good the program is. You know what I'm saying? I can't really stress it enough because it done brought us a long, long way. We went from standing on the block to now we sitting around with billionaires. We sitting around $1 million people. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even expect to see myself right here, right now. You know, that's why I say I give honor to Arnie, God, the Joneses, for helping me make the change.
Part of the conversation today is how we deal with trauma, and sometimes a lifetime of trauma. But talk to me and talk to the audience about what it's like to be shot 6 times. I can't imagine that. And what's the harder part? Is it the physical pain? Is it the fear? Is it the trauma afterwards? Like, what's the hardest part of dealing with being shot 6 times?
The physical pain, it was nothing compared to the mental and the emotional stress. You know what I'm saying? The being nervous, being afraid, feeling like it's gonna happen again. Like on the way to the hospital, you don't understand how many times I asked the paramedics, was I gonna live or I was gonna die? Like it's just the whole experience, laying in your own blood and questioning is if it's your time or if it's not. So it's like that right there, that alone, you feel me, gave me a lot to live for. Then when I got shot, my son was 4 months, and I had a daughter that was in the making, but she was 6 months. My girl was 6 months pregnant with her, so my kids wouldn't have knew me. You know what I'm saying? So that right there made me want to change. That was the initiative that gave me that extra push, that extra motivation. Also, I had the support from the Joneses, my life coach, Hicks.
What's the best thing this man's taught you?
He taught me how to control myself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't always gotta go when you're ready to go. Sometimes you can pause. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that you ain't always gotta draw off your emotions or how you feel at that moment. You can take a minute, sit back, think, breathe, and collect yourself.
And coming into our program, did you take a pay cut or was it a pay increase?
To be honest, I took a pay cut, but
Why did you decide to do that? You took a pay cut, you take a pay cut, I'm coming next.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to take a pay cut? That's a hard thing to do.
I feel like I took a pay cut because when I was in the streets, it's endless how it's coming. It's coming like this all day long. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, it's coming like this. But at the end of the day, it's coming like this, but I gotta worry about the robbers, I gotta worry about the police, I gotta worry about getting my house raided, I gotta worry about the haters, I gotta worry about 1,000,001 things. But me taking this pay cut, I'm in peace. I can go home. I know for a guarantee I'm coming home to my kids. I know for a guarantee that I'm not finna be incarcerated. I know for a guarantee, you know what I'm saying? I know for a guarantee that I'm gonna spend every holiday with my family. And right now, that's what means the most to me. Making sure I be there for every birthday for these kids, because me being incarcerated, probably 2016 is the first year I done seen my kid's birthday. You know what I'm saying? 2016, 2017, first year period, I done seen my kid's birthday due to the fact of me being incarcerated.
Right. And we always say transformation's not overnight and it's not linear. There are ups and downs and good days and bad days. What's been the hardest thing about the program? What's the hardest adjustment?
The hardest thing was just not doubling back. You know what I'm saying? Like, due to the fact that we grew up in the streets, this is where we from, this how we breathe, you know what I'm saying? This the only way we know how to live. It's easy to get backtracked when people that you still kick it with, people you still talk to on the phone with, something happened to them or they end up getting hurt, you still feel the same pain. But it's just like, you gotta prioritize now. If I do this and I do that, you ain't gonna be here for your family, I'm not gonna be here for my family. And right now, my family, the most important thing to me is coming home to them kids, making my mama proud. You know what I'm saying? My mama spent over $10,000 on lawyers just going in and out of jail. Over $10,000 on me. Mama lost her job at Christ Hospital. You know what I'm saying? She quit her job to draw her 401k to get me out of jail. So everything I'm doing right now, I owe it to my mama. You know what I'm saying?
Last question. How many past 2 years, how many of your friends have you lost?
I've currently done lost 2 friends, months apart.
Brandon, how many friends?
I lost a big brother, a close friend I had for 6 years, like my best friend, cousins.
Manuel, talk to me about growing up.
I'm from the Roseland area. I'm 25. It was 5 of us. Really, my grandmother really took care of us because my mother was doing it, but she started using, and when she started using, she wasn't really caring about us. She started using our money on her drugs. So my grandmother saw it. She wound up taking custody of us. It was hard for her to take custody of us because it's 5 of us, and she couldn't really budget everything because we all wanted something. She trying her best to get what we need. When I turned like 17, I ran to the streets. I started selling drugs, smoking marijuana. I wound up catching a case at 17, a robbery. I wound up doing like a year in the county jail. They let me out on probation. Like a year out, while I'm on probation, I wound up catching another case on probation. So I wound up going back to the county jail, setting up for like 6 months. Then they sent me downstate to boot camp. I had to wait in Stateville for like 4 months just to go to boot camp. Then I went to boot camp, came from boot camp. Then I was out for like a year. Then I wound up catching another case on top of my boot camp case. So I went downstate and did 3 years straight. I was young. I ain't know what to do. And when I came home, I just thought, when I was incarceration, I was thinking about the things I need to do to change my life around. Because I had a son on the way, so I don't want him to grow up in my shoes. I came home for boot camp, doing my time from prison. I just started staying positive. Then after that, a year down the line, my grandmother passed, my cousin passed, my brother passed, and there was a mass shooting on my block. My mother got shot in her buttocks. My cousin died protecting my niece and his sister. Like 5 more members in our family got shot. I was really thinking about quitting this program, like stopping this, like going back to the streets, period, because I feel like I wanted revenge at that time. You killed something that really means something to me. You shot my mother, who means something to me. So I stopped coming to work and all that because I was going back to the streets. And only support I really had, it was my family and the family I got here at my job. And there was a few of our coworkers calling me. I was denying their number because I knew, like, do nobody know how I feel? And one day, I just thought about something. So when our coworkers called me, I picked up the phone. He was like, bro, they really worrying about you. You need to come to work. I was like, man, work can't help me take care of my family. Then I wound up coming back to work. I was talking to a couple of coworkers. They was talking to me to keep my mind right. And I still wasn't thinking I was coming to work, but I was leaving work early because I'm trying to go back on our block to retaliate. My main thing was retaliate the person and let them feel my pain, how I was feeling, especially when it comes to the person who raised me. So I was going back and forth from work to the block, and I wound up just thinking. One day, my life coach, Mr. Robinson, told me, like, we had sat down and talked. He told me about the decisions I'm making, and there wasn't no great decisions because I know the decision that I was gonna make it, I was gonna be next in a graveyard in jail. I just wanted my revenge. I want somebody to feel how I was feeling. And every day I think about it though. Like, well, if I went out there and did something, I wouldn't be here today to tell my story, or I'd still be here allowed to take care of my kids. So every day I take one day at a time and just think about all the things that I've been through in the past and think about the things I'm trying to do for my life.
Nothing to add on that one, boy.
All right, so now it's time for 10 minutes of questions. We've got several coming in, but feel free, they'll throw the link back up on the screen. If you have questions, you can continue to text them in. The first one that was up was for Arnie. It's, as a public school mom, what advice would you give to us to advocate for our kids and all the kids in the system?
So I think what we often do as parents is we take care of our own kids, or do the best we can to take care of our own kids. What I think none of us do enough of is taking care of other people's kids as well, and being concerned about other people's kids. And until we value these young men and their children and his grandchildren as much as we value our own kids, we're going to have these massive inequities, whether it's in education or in healthcare or in public safety. And so for me, I guess my ask or my plea would be that all of us redouble our efforts to take care of everybody's kids. And yes, that will benefit our own kids as well, but it's the only way we're going to cut through some of these just tragedies that we have now. The one thing is, every guy's story is different, but I would say that the thing that's so humbling about this work is that you really learn not to judge. And these are all young men who at a pretty, again, not uncommon, at a pretty young age, they had to go make some money. And there was one guy hiring, that was the guy in the corner. And people like us in rooms like this, we were all absent from their lives. And so they actually made a pretty rational choice. And I have a younger brother and sister. I didn't have to make those kinds of choices. But had I had to make those choices, I can't say I would have decided something different. So it's a long answer to your question, Liz, but I think we have to start to advocate for everybody's kids as much or more than our own. It doesn't hurt our kids, but it'll help entire communities. Mm-hmm. That's what we're missing, I think, as a city and as a nation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a theme of today. It's about humanity. It's about treating everyone like we want our own kids treated. So this is for the Chicago CRED participants. In this room, there are people with access, privilege, there are decision makers here. What do you wish this audience knew, and what do you wish they would do? So what do you wish this audience knew, and what do you wish they would do?
Excuse me, can you repeat?
What do you wish the audience knew? What do you want them to know about? And what do you wish they would do walking out of the room today? What do you want them to know, and what do you want them to do?
To me, I think you should just stay focused on what's important and what matters, because that's what get us through the day. Every day I wake up, and even if I'm not with my daughter, I think about her, and that just keep me, focused on doing what's right, not risking my freedom or my life. So I think that's something everybody should do, just stay focused.
What do you want these guys thinking about?
I think overall, as far as what you should do, I think sometimes you need to take away your perception of what you see when you see an individual just by looking at them. It's like a book. You can't judge it just because it looks a certain way. And start investing some of y'all time into some interest in these programs. Doing a little research yourselves so you understand how hard it is to get these guys on the right track, how hard it is to stay consistent, whether it's financially, mentally, or physically. It's a task at hand. I'd just like for you guys to just do a little bit more research on your own, and you'll understand a little bit more about these programs.
Mr. Hicks said it all basically about you can't judge a book by its cover. You got to really look what's deep down inside of the person. The main thing right now, y'all should go home, tell y'all kids y'all love them right now, because tomorrow not promised to nobody.
Another thing I want everybody to know, just really about the program and how much the program is really helping us. We came from nothing. We come from Roseland, where just like Inglewood and Roseland is basically the same thing. There's really no hope for us there. So we come in here, and these people helping us get over obstacles, helping us overcome barriers that been thrown in front of us that we felt like that we couldn't overcome by ourselves. So I just really want y'all to know how much a benefit the program is, and how many more programs need to be out here. The youth is all we got.
This question is for the CRED participants. We're just going to kind of go straight down the line. And it is, do you feel safer being a part of CRED? Has it changed your feeling of general safety?
I do now. Like, before all this CRED or the job, I usually be on the block right now. And with the CRED and the job right now, every morning, my plan is stay focused, go to work, from work, spend time with my kids, and just stay home, period. So I know I'm safe when I'm in the house.
I feel safer because I don't really have the enthusiasm to go outside and put my life on the front line no more. I like being in the house. I like being safe. I like knowing that I'm gonna come home every day. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like since I done put myself around people that know themselves and know their worth, I began to know myself and know my worth. So yes, I began to make myself and put myself around people that's gonna keep me safe and put myself around safe situations instead of endangering myself.
Of course, yeah. I feel like because of the program, we way more safer because now we don't got to worry about an income. We got a steady income. That's something that's going to be able to get us, be able to take care of ourselves with. And we ain't got to worry about what we going to do to eat or what we going to do for shoes or clothes and anything like that. And now all of us got kids now. So now we ain't got to worry about what we going to do for our kids so they won't be starving or have something to put on their back. So I feel like the program kept us safe and it made us wiser.
Thank you. This is our last question, and this is for Arnie. It is, what has been your biggest lesson as you've taken on Chicago CRED, and what would you do differently?
So many lessons every single day. I'll just say that these guys give me hope and inspiration every single day. And it's, I always say they're not the problem, they're actually the solution to the problem. And if Chicago's going to get to a much better place, it's not going to be me, and honestly not even going to be him. We're going to try and help. It's going to be these guys making different choices and being the leaders and being the fathers for their kids that maybe they didn't necessarily have. So biggest lesson is that I came into this hopeful, but it's sort of hopeful without any proof or evidence. Yeah. And I'm actually way more hopeful. I'm way more optimistic now because I know, I see it. I see every day what they're doing. The challenge is we just have so far to go as a city. And it's just, we're in a state of crisis. It's just, for me, the level of fear, not them, but the level of fear that young kids on the south and west sides have to live with is just absolutely unacceptable. And so for me, this can't be like a 20-year journey. Like, we got to see, how do we get as a city dramatically safer over the next 3, 4, 5 years? And so how do we get better faster? How do we work with more guys? How do we do a combination of jobs and an honest income with social emotional support and trauma care and great life coaches? And I just think as a city, we've lacked the will and we've lacked the courage to really take to scale what I'm convinced will give kids back their childhoods, which is really all we're trying to do.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm really excited.